there are many things in my life that I've been through over the last 23 years, especially that I have learned from, grown from, but also and continuing to evolve from. And what I mean by that is we're all going to go through life and have challenges, have difficulties, feel at times like we're not getting anywhere. And it's just like, it's part of the process. It's part of the transformation. Excuse me. It's part of the transformation that I myself have to go through right now because 2 years ago, when I started this YouTube channel, I had 0 followers. Almost 2 years ago now, when I started this podcast, I had 0 followers. Almost 5 years ago, when I started Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I was somebody who stepped on the mat for the very first time without a gi, no experience in mixed martial arts. All I had experience in was baseball, basketball, soccer, and running. When I came out of a coma 23 years ago, I was paralyzed from the waist down. I was banged up really bad to where I couldn't walk, I couldn't bathe, I couldn't use the restroom, I couldn't even eat it for a period of time without needing help. So I say all that and telling you that your life has meaning and that you have purpose and that you bring value and something to the table, regardless of what you think about yourself. You're looking at somebody who has been transformed and evolved into the man that I am today. I was not the public speaker that I am today 12 years ago, 13 years ago when I first started. I wasn't always as outspoken about what's happened to me in my life from the negative standpoint. I wasn't as outspoken as about living with a disability or living with a neurocognitive disorder. A lot of that, has come within this last year. Like, you'd be very, very shocked. I've over the years talked a little bit about what I go through and like how I want to help people when it comes to their own struggles and their own stories, helping them become the hero of theirs. But more than that, I just want people to realize like, hey, you can go through hell and back again, but you need to realize that it's not about you. Everybody has a story, everybody brings something when it comes to value, whether they're trying to inspire people through a heroic story or trying to motivate people to become better versions of themselves. All of us have something that we can contribute to society. It's whether or not you're humble enough to like realize that you cannot go through life on your own. You have to have people around you to build you up, to strengthen you, to sharpen you. And then when you fall down, because you're going to fall down many times, you got to be picked back up and then get back into the fight. I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have anything like that, a support system that builds me up and gets me on that right path to where I know exactly what I want to do in my life when I grow up. I had to learn over time, basically on my own and through like friends and through people who I had no idea who they were or they didn't have any idea who I was that I crossed paths with. It's like, hey, dude, I don't know you. I don't know your story, but there's something about you that is special. I know you may not realize that, but hold on to whatever you're going through. Hold on to whatever dream you have or goal you have and don't give up. Like ultimately, do not quit. It's cliche, I know, but you'd be very surprised at the power that you have when you tell somebody not to give up. It's it's something that can be very cringy, yes, and I realize that at times, but those words can change somebody's life forever. There was a young boy who I've shared the story before, but he was a young disabled boy at one of the high schools I spoke at early on in my career, and he came up to me at the end of my speech, and this whole thing like didn't go as planned. I made a 4-minute video to share with audiences, especially the young kids or high schoolers, and it messed up during the whole thing. So it would like cut in and out of the video and would like basically stall. And I was like, these kids are not going to get the whole message because the video is stalling. At least they can see the photos and the music sucks, but and the kid still his life was still changed. He just came up to me. He's like, you saved my life. Thank you for being here. And that will always stay with me. That is the reason why I do this. It's not for selfish ambition. It's not for money. It's not for fame. It's to save a life that may not be saved if you don't go and speak, if you don't make that video, if you don't do something that could drastically change the course of somebody's life forever. The very first time I spoke, I was like, this is it. I feel at home. This is definitely what I feel like my life was saved all those years ago for. Whether I believed it or not growing up, it doesn't really matter because, I took that leap of faith. I took the courage and the confidence. I had the confidence stand in front of an audience, regardless of it's one or a thousand, and be like, guys, I may not know you, I may not know your story, but I know what pain, suffering, neglect, depression, PTSD, trauma, I know what abuse, I know what all that stuff is. And I am still healing from all that to this day. But you know what? There is hope for you. I don't care who you are, I don't care what you've done. Being a speaker, being somebody in the spotlight, like there are always ways that you can evolve and become better at communicating a message. You're not going to save every life that you speak in front of. Like that's just the honest truth. Like if you can speak to 100 people in the room, maybe a quarter of them will be impacted by it. Maybe like one life will be saved, and that's all that matters. But the majority of them probably won't even. It'll just go in one ear out the other, and that's okay. You're not you think of it like this. You're trying to sow a seed of hope into somebody. You may just be the person who's sowing the seed. You may be the person watering it. You may be the person to where it ripens and it harvests. Like you just have to think of it that way. It's like if somebody has never heard that their life matters and you say it to them and they accept it and embrace it finally, well then, you've done your job. That's the way I at least look at things. I use everything that I've been through in my life that's been negatively impacted or negatively impacted me, and I try to turn that negativity and that feeling I have and have had into a positive feeling that I can use and change it into something that I can throw out there as a seed of hope basically to somebody and be like, hey, I've been abused. I've been neglected. I've been in pain. I've been in times to where I feel so alone, like nobody's going to get what I'm going through. But I turn it around. I did a complete 360. I feel like, you know what? I don't bring a lot to the table right now. I don't make a lot of money. I'm not the strongest guy or the fastest guy or the most good looking guy in the world. But by God, I'm going to get pretty damn close to it. When you cross paths with the right person, you will know. I'm like, how do you know? You'll know. Still doesn't make sense this day, but that's not the point. In my running career, I failed over and over and over and over again. I remember to this day, like over 20 years ago, when I could barely run a mile and it was a horrible feeling. I was like, this sucks, man. I'm not going to be able to get anywhere. This is horrible. Why are all these people around me succeeding and getting faster and I'm just being over here suffering? It took years to go through all that, years to prepare, years to train, years to do something that I now to this day am thankful for and have the ability to do. But it took a very long time to evolve. I couldn't just get in front of a camera or get in front of a microphone and be like, guys, I want to share a story with you, A, B, and C. I just had to work up the courage to do it. It was like, if something is going to go right in my world, I've got to make that leap. I've got to take that step forward and be totally okay with what the results are. No matter how bad it is, no matter how horrible I look or how bad the background is or the volume or whatever. Like, no matter what the result is, I'm going to do it anyway. That's the way I look at things now. It's like, hey, you're going to fail. You're going to feel like you're not getting anywhere. You're not going to do everything that you want to do in a short period of time, but that's part of life. That's part of the growing process and part of the transformation process as well. I can tell you from firsthand experience that I want to get to where Joe Rogan and all these big time podcasters are, but it took years to get to that point. It's taken me like a couple years to get to where I am today. And imagine a couple years from now where I'm going to be. It's like, okay, I'm not going to worry about the struggle and I'm not going to worry about the what ifs. I'm going to worry about what I'm doing right now to prepare myself for those things in the future. If I had that mentality when I was in Air Force basic training years ago, there's no telling what would have happened. It was like one of those things where it was like, okay, why did all that happen? Why did I not become what I wanted to become? Why was that not like what was the goal in it, It wasn't about you. There were guys down there who were a lot younger than you who had never heard about me, meaning God. They had never seen or read a Bible and they didn't know about what true struggle was until they met you, a God-given individual that uses his story and uses the hardships that he's been through to make something of himself and to make a positive impact on other people's lives. That's the reason why you were down there. It wasn't to become an Air Force PJ. It was to become the person that I created you to be. and saved you to be ultimately. There were guys and girls who commented on the video I was talking about recently, and they were like, you're not a veteran. You know, you're nothing. You tried and you failed and get over it, get help." And I took heart to that a little bit because I was like, you know what? How many people live with a disability, live with a brain injury all these years, find out about an Air Force PJ, what they're about, what they do, go into one of the hardest selection processes, or at least leading up to it, go into the military. How many people have the balls to at least transform themselves and go into it? Please. I mean, I'm not saying that there's nobody, but I'm guaranteeing you that there's not a whole lot. Thank you for at least trying. That's all I would really care about. It's like, we got to put this guy down because he thinks he's a lot bigger than he actually is. No, I know exactly what I am, and I know exactly who I am and whose I am. I was a PJ candidate and I got separated from basic training, and then that's it. I don't go into detail about what happened or anything like that. I just said it just wasn't for me. I wasn't ready for that life, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. I still to this day, have to realize like, hey, there are going to be times like that when I have to be ready. I have to be ready to handle the hardships and the struggle, so to speak. This isn't easy. None of this is, and it never will be. It's a part of that less than 1% or 1% of people who love doing podcasting, who stick with it, who want to continue to make people's lives better in some way, shape, or form and help grow in their journey. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's never been about me. I used what I have and the blessings I have in my life and the people who are in my life to impact you. First few times I tried YouTube, I was totally like in the dark about it, didn't know what I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing, but at least I'm one step closer to achieving what I want to achieve, which is to become monetized, to get brand deals, to do this more on a full-time basis. Like that's the ultimate goal, but we still have work to do. We still have a lot of things we need to accomplish first. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please click that thumbs up button. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the other side.